What's going on, people? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for hitting the likes when you came in. Welcome to Dark Jones Talks Live. I am your host. You know who I am. Tonight we're going to get it in on a different note. We're generally, what's up, Triple C? I don't buy bull. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight we're going to try to go on a different level tonight, different way that I approach things. Not that I'm changing up anything, because we still will be going in. I'm right now working on a bee bully video. I'm working super hard on this little comic strip that will be launching on YouTube. You know, basically about what I do. And what I'm trying to do in this so-called community of ours. So that's what we're going to be doing. Tonight we're going to be talking about advice show film Swirling. That's going around right now heavy. No matter where you go. It's just like the voice thing, whereas you have a person who's for so long said certain things about certain topics that it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around them being kind of contrary to what they always say. You know, like their actions being them being a contrarian to their own self. Like, it's one thing if you're a contrarian to someone else's points of views and things like that, but it's a whole nother level when it's, you know, to yourself. So we're gonna go into that a little bit. We're also, hold on, let me get this crap off my screen. Okay, we're also gonna go into, have we failed our youth, and will the cycle continue? I played a video earlier about a young brother. It's a few of them, not just one. So let me not say that. And I don't want to dive too deep on the actual incident, you know, as far as shooting, just to let you know that, look, there was a shooting at a traffic stop between some kids, got into an altercation. Nobody knows exactly what it's about. But that isn't even the point of why I'm bringing it up. So we'll go into the points of why I'm bringing it up. So we're going to start right here by listening to a quick little audio, and then we'll start our chat and our conversation, guys. So let's get into it.
The interracial agenda receipts. Phil Scott married a Hispanic single mom, ? I want to just lend some credence to that because I saw that it only has 700 views. And I want to just say that this is indeed the case. I want to just lend some credence to that because I saw the interracial agenda receipts. Phil Scott married a Hispanic single mom, ? I want to just lend some credence to that because I saw that it only has 700 views. And I want to just say that this is indeed the case. I was on the...
Now, first, whoever she got the story from initially apparently put a question mark there. Now, we all know that when that happens and a question mark is put in, that a person is asking a question, meaning they are not sure, they're not completely clear. For instance, a good example of clarity and why it's important in all these situations is because Cynthia G and her little beef with Corey Holcomb or whatever, back and forth that they were having initially, because I talked to some people who are, well, I'm not subscribed to her pages anymore, but to people who still were and that I know and cool with, and they were saying how she was telling them how, yeah, look at Corey's got a such and such wife and a white wife or whatever she was saying, or a Mexican wife or Latino wife, talking about the chick D on the show. You know what I'm saying? So Darlene is actually, like I said before, she's Ice-T's ex-wife. She is Mexican, but she was married to Ice-T, not Corey Holcomb. So it's like it's good to try to have clarity when you start talking about people, especially who people are married to, and who they're not married to, etc. So I'm just clearing that part up. But the sister whose video it is, which I think they've taken the video down, she's taking it down, basically confirmed it as though she has facts that is so. So I'm just going to go along with it. I'm not questioning you or questioning her. I'm just saying that's what it says and what it sounds like.
RESP, the interracial agenda receipts. Phil Scott married a Hispanic single mom? Question mark. I want to just lend some credence to that because I saw that it only has 700 views, and I want to just say that this is indeed the case. I was on the Advice Show, as many of you may recall, a few years ago, and the reason why I agreed to go on his show, was because he said, I am in an interracial relationship. My wife is white Hispanic.
Now, that sounds like what is called a witness with personal firsthand knowledge. When you start talking like that and you start making those type of statements and or assertions at this point, but I don't want to do that to her and diminish her position and call it merely assertions if this individual said it to you. Because if Phil said this to her, then it's not an assertion she's making. It's fact. She's just relaying what actually happened, a personal conversation. So and being that she seems to be the typical millennium black swirler lady, she sounds like it, looks like it. I looked on her page a little bit, and it seems to be that's the case. Which again, that's her business. You know what I mean? Like, I have plenty of sisters that like me, so I don't have to worry about one who's that's what she's into. I guess that's just what she's into, whatever. So anyway, she's no longer just making assertions, or the one can no longer say she's making assertions. She's actually providing now testimony, so to speak, as a witness with personal firsthand knowledge that Brother Phil's wife is white and Mexican, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean per se, except around the things, you know, the other things that he says.
The interracial agenda receipts. Phil Scott married a Hispanic single mom? Question mark. I want to just lend some credence to that because I saw that it only has 700 views, and I want to just say that this is indeed the case. I was on the Advice Show, as many of you may recall, a few years ago, and the reason why I agreed to go on his show, was because he said, I am in an interracial relationship. My wife is white Hispanic. I want you guys to understand this. And so we need to call this hypocrisy out. I agreed, and you can go tell that.
Now, this is where it gets kind of weird when she starts calling him a hypocrite, and then she starts going into why. And I'm not going to play the rest because I'm talking to my family in the back when I'm recording this. This was something I didn't know she was going to take the video down. If I knew the video was going to get taken down, I would have really, really like recorded that shit and saved it. What I do with all important equipment, excuse me, and information that I think will come back up. So, anywho, for those who just came in, we'll play it one last time, and then we shall move on to our conversation.
Rest the interracial agenda receipts. Phil Scott married a Hispanic single mom? Question mark. I want to just lend some credence to that because I saw that it only has 700 views, and
now I've heard Bill talk before about how black men date interracially, but one of the things that I have to be honest, and if I have to go find the evidence, I will, you know, if this becomes a heated discussion. But one of the things that I've heard Brother Phil say on more than one occasion when he was talking about interracial dating, I don't know how many of you listen to his show. Like, I used to listen to it, like pretty much every time he put a show out, I used to listen to it. And I kind of been weaned off it in the last, I guess, almost 7 months or so, 6 or 7 months. I don't listen to his show as much, but because I'm kind of really into my own show and my own pages and the people that I'm, you know, associated with. So, but I listened to the man for at least a year and a half straight, you know, when I first got onto it. I think I first came, no, it was probably longer. When I first started listening to Brother Phil's show, he didn't even have like 50,000 subs. So it's like, I listened to his show before, man, and that man he'll talk about interracial dating when as far as black man interracial dating. He used to always emphasize on the white girl part of it. Like, it's not that he would knock interracial dating, because I've heard him say it. Like, yo, I don't knock interracial dating. You know, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. But at the same time, he would always emphasize when he was talking about black men interracially dating, saying, why do you always have to go for a white woman? Like, if you're going to interracial date and date outside of your race, excuse me, why are you not going for this type of woman or that type of woman or this type of woman? Why does it always have to be a white girl? She could be well, he says Becky. He said, why it always got to be a Becky? You can't date outside your race unless you're dating a Becky. And then when you do date outside your race, it's not like this is him talking. It's not like you want to date, you date sisters and then you might date this one. It's only just Becky's. So I've actually heard him say that before, you know, like getting on there. Now, I had still no idea, you know, that Brother Phil had taken on a responsibility, not only of, you know, just marrying a woman, but, you know, taking on a responsibility of a little Migo. You know, I didn't know that. But it doesn't change the way I view him per se. Now, that shit he did changed the way I view him way more than this does. Because I don't really care about that interracial dating shit, and so to speak. Like, I care, but I don't care enough, you know what I mean, to constantly bad talk about it and go in about it. You know, like, I just see it for what it is. You know, I'll say it again. I've said it before. I've never, and I mean, I have never in my life, I'm in my late 30s, y'all, and I have never in my life seen what I'm about to explain to you. I have seen a broke black man being taken care of by a black woman. I have seen a broke black man being taken care of by a white woman. I have seen a black man taking care of a black woman. I have even seen black men taking care of white women. But one thing I have never seen, even amidst all this swirling craze, it seems that the sisters are only dating white men that seem to be well-to-do or wealthy. Meaning, I have never seen a broke white man being taken care of by a black woman. That's just me. I've never seen that. So when people talk this whole swirler craze and all that, the reason I don't focus on it, like I was saying, is because I don't pay that shit no mind. Because in my mind, that shit a money grab. Because if you look at 97% of them black women that do that shit and date white men, they have what? A whole black baby or two or whatever. So, nigga, you like black men. You just feel that it's quicker to the top. Messing. What up, Wax? Quicker to the top, going that route. And it seems to be popular right now. So everyone's doing it, so to speak, but everyone's not. And when I say everyone, I mean in a cliche sort of way. I don't mean factually, because I know, and Brother Phil, I learned it on Brother Phil's show. He pulled up the stats on his show, how how when they talk about this whole interracial dating shit and all this, still black women and black men marry each other far greater. It's not even comparable to interracial marriages between black men and other people, and women who are black, our sisters. It's not even close. So amidst all the talk, excuse my language, but amidst all the talk, niggas still marry our women. We marry our women. Now, when we do marry or date outside our race, it seems to be Becky, as Brother Phil says. That's what it seems to be. Again, for those who just came in, welcome to Derek Jones Talks Live. Tonight we are talking about Advice Show, Phil, Swirling Chat. And have we failed our youth? And will the cycle continue? Because I think it has become a cycle now of youth being failed in our community. And I'll go into how I feel about it, what I think about it, and what my personal plans are to do about it. And what I feel that others should do is actually have some sort of personal plan, not me telling you what the plan is and what you should do, but you actually having your own and at least thinking about it a little bit. But right now, we're still on Miss Beyond Black and White did a show based on Brother Phil from the Advice Show, talking about the fact that Brother Phil has a half white wife, half white and half Mexican, half Migo. So for those who just came in, I'm going to play it one last time so you guys can hear it.
Rest the interracial agenda receipts. Phil Scott married a Hispanic single mom? I want to just lend some credence to that because I saw that it only has 700 views, and I want to just say that this is indeed the case. I was on the Advice Show, as many of you may recall, a few years ago, and the reason why I agreed to go on his show, was because he said, I am in an interracial relationship. My wife is white Hispanic. I want you guys to understand this. An interracial relationship. My wife is white Hispanic. I want to just lend some credence to that because I saw that it only has 700 views. And I want to just say that this is indeed the case. I was on the advice show, as many of you may recall, a few years ago. And the reason why I agreed to go on his show, was because he said, I am in an interracial relationship. My wife is white Hispanic. I want you guys to understand this.
And the reason why she, I didn't get all of it, but the reason why she was so angry and feeling like he was so hypocritical was because of Phil's relationship with Cynthia G. You see what I'm saying? Like she feels that because he's had Cynthia G on like many times, and the things that they were talking about, she's kind of looking at it like, damn, Phil, I talked to you. Not only did I talk to you, you told me that you are in an interracial relationship. So that's one of the basis of the reasons I even came on your show. And then she's saying that now I'm watching you with Cynthia G basically call women, brothers who mess with white girls, Becky's, beta males, and calling sisters who date outside their race bed wenches. So that's where she's coming from. Or why? What do you say, Triple C? When you sign anything now, it takes you. You are Hispanic, and you can be black and Hispanic or white and Hispanic. So, and there's 2 points that I want to talk about from this whole thing. There's 2 points. Okay. The one point is the raising of the children. Okay. The second point, well, let's go in on that before we even go to the second point, because we'll just go into the second point. The number 1 point is raising of the children. Now you have Brother Phil, who I'm not going to say he runs his page like Cynthia G, but they kind of talk about the same thing. Okay? They talk about the same thing. So when he is pathologizing white people, because he does it, which I agree with 90% of the shit he says. I don't say that it's a fact, foregone conclusion, or none of that shit. I'm just asking, personal, do I agree with it? Yep. Because it's not him saying anything. It's him basically showing what they're doing. Okay? But in a sense, it's like, you are spouting Black Power type shit. You were even endorsing Sarnetta's Black Power award show ceremony, which coincidentally, now that he's dealing with them people, he doesn't refer to the word Black Power or Black Power anymore at all to this award show, using language and verbiage I've never heard attached to Sarnetta. But I digress. So you're doing all this talk about, the people and what we need to do. We just need to, you heard Brother Phil, we just need to separate from these people. We need to separate from the thug. We need to separate from the hood, right? The hyena. We need to separate from these people. And just black people, we just regular people, just want to be ourselves and go do our own thing. So, hey, that makes sense to me. I don't want to be around any fucking hood rat hyenas. I don't want to be around any shoot 'em up thugs who can't seem to point any of that at the police who are actually targeting them, but at other people who ain't even probably fucking with them. So no, I don't want to be around that shit either, especially the ones that are not reachable. We cannot save everyone. But Brother Phil was talking a lot of that, you know, black power type jazz, yo. And it's very alarming to see a trend continue. Like, it's like, I'm gonna say it like this. We want to say there's nothing wrong with dating outside your race if you find somebody who just so happens to be fucking, let's say, Korean and black or whatever and whatever. And this person is an awesome fucking person who holds you down, who don't lie to you, who treats your family good and this, that, and the third, like just got your back in all types of situations in life and whatever, whatever. We want to say, like, who am I to say to you to not have that happiness? You want to say that to people. At least I do. But it seems to be an alarming trend, like Shannon Sharp. Boom. Shannon Sharp is looked at as a strong black figure. He holds his own. He don't be biting his tongue. He made money playing football and other shit. So he really basically doesn't have to kiss their ass for a check. But even though he respects his job, he still does his job. Blah, blah, blah. At the same time, bam, white girl, white. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit's kind of fucking weird, man. It's kind of fucking weird. Like, every time you turn around, this is what you're doing. You got the brother out from California, from Compton, LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball is running all over the world right now, literally the world. LeVar Ball went to fucking wherever the fuck he had, the Ukraine, wherever the fuck they had, Germany, somewhere, and this nigga just basically went out there and took over. Like, this is just a nigga from Compton, a brother from Compton. Just went, a brother from Compton ain't never been to fucking the Ukraine or whatever the hell they had, Lithuania, and just goes over there and it's just the shit. And not only is he the shit, he's loudly saying how much he's the shit. Got them fucking people basically kissing his ass, nigga. Let him just open whole basketball tournaments, do whatever the fuck he feels like doing. He could do whatever the fuck he feels like doing. So at the end of the day, after he could do whatever he feels like doing, and he's such a powerful image, white wife. So at the end of the day, it's the same trend. It's the same fucking trend. You look at Brother Phil on YouTube, ain't got no fuckery attached to him. Nowhere when no one says that he's scamming them. Nowhere he puts out a Patreon and says, yo, donate to my Patreon and help run this show. He's straight out, flat out, open. Yo, you want this show to keep running? Need to donate to this shit. So I can pay people to help me keep this shit running. And I can pay to have to invest my time to keep this shit running. I don't have no problem, especially when somebody right out up front about it. So there's no fuckery attached to him. No secret call saying he hate Egypt and then love Egypt or love Egypt and hate Africa, and then there was none of that shit. Nobody went to buy a book from him and got a photocopy and didn't get the rest of their stuff that was the bulk of the fucking purchase, which accumulated to be like $700 or $600 or $450 or whatever. None of that shit. Doesn't have any of that shit attached to him. So you looking at him like, okay, positive brother doing this thing, blah, blah, blah. Half white girl, half mixed wife. Like, it's a trend, man. Like, what's going on? I don't get it. Though I get it if I tell you what I hear from certain brothers. We'll save that for a whole nother conversation. Derek Jones Talks Live. It is time for our standard. I'm gonna stop calling it 30-second break, guys, because it be of course longer than fucking 30 seconds. So what I'm gonna start doing is just calling it our standard break. And during the breaks, what I want to do is generally, play a little audio. And this audio is of something that I'm working on, and it's about a bee bully. Yes, you heard it, a bee.
He was a guy. That cat, he was allergic to bee stings or whatever. He had a pouch and stuff on. That cat won't give me them comic books, boy. I can't remember exactly what I tried to do to that thing, but I tried to get rid of it. I was like, damn, he had a pouch and stuff on. That cat won't give me them comic books, boy. That cat won't give me them comic books, boy. That cat won't give me them comic books, boy. I can't remember exactly what I tried to do to that thing, but I tried to get rid of it. I was like, damn, I hope a bee sting your motherfucking ass. He was allergic to bee stings or whatever. He was allergic to bee stings or whatever. Bee sting your motherfucking ass. I tried to get rid of this thing, so if he bee sting your motherfucking ass, I did that. I was like, damn, I hope a bee sting your motherfucking ass. I tried bee sting your motherfucking ass. I tried bee sting your motherfucking ass. I tried to get rid of this thing, so if he did get stung, that boy would have ended up dead. Did get stung, that boy would have ended up dead. I was to get rid of this thing, so if he did get stung, that boy was a guy. That cat, he was allergic to bee stings or whatever. He had a pouch and stuff on. That cat won't give me them comic books, boy. I can't remember exactly what I tried to do to that thing, but I tried to get rid of it. I was like, damn, I hope a bee sting your motherfucking ass. I tried to get rid of this thing, so if he did get stung, that boy would have ended up dead. I wasn't even thinking at that age. I was like,
Derek Jones Talks Live. We are back. I hope you enjoyed the quick little audio. I'm going to leave you guys with little tidbits like that, during the little breaks, just things to listen to, That one right there was called, little segment was called The Bee Bully, brought to you by Carl Albert, One Israel Doctrine. So the bee bully is, well, it was such an evil thing to hope someone gets stung by a bee and they're allergic. But nevertheless, I digress once again. Derek Jones Talks Live, advised show Phil, Swirling chat, and have we failed our youth, and will the cycle continue? Now, we've already touched on our first point with Brother Phil and his Black powerness, which is a good thing, the positive things that he brings. But one thing that Brother Phil does is he pathologizes Europeans. Now, I want to know, the same way Cynthia G does in a manner, just not what is so vulgar as she does sometimes. But I want to know what happens when, are the grandparents around? Because at some point, you're going to have to, the child that you're raising is going to have to go spend the night or the weekends with those same people that you pathologize on your show. Like, you talk about these people, Europeans, in a certain manner, which is fine. But what I'm saying to you is, you're then turning your stepchildren over to them, so to speak. Because we know, and he knows, in our community, once we take on raising your child, we really don't like saying that word step too much. It's pretty much your child now. So it's no more the step thing, you know, is yeah. But anyway, at any rate, you're taking your child now over, because I know you're not going to deny that being your child. What would your wife say? So you're taking your child over to the same people that you do live streams about. Now, Brother Phil, you did a live stream one time showing this European woman with glasses, kind of chubby, real weird, mean-spirited, lonely type looking, just angry, talking about black people, but knows she loves black men. If you could get in her phone, that's all you'd see. So, one of them. But you did a show about her, and it was a good show. That's the same, and you were talking about the mentality. And one thing that he points out is that you don't know how white people don't walk around with a sign on them. So you don't even know which ones and how they act and really are. And they're so sneaky. They're so devilish. They're so sneaky. They're so devilish. You know, that's why I'd rather stay away from them people, because blah, blah, blah. Nigga, you taking your kids to them if the grandparents are involved in their life. Now, if they're not, then I'm just, none of what I just said matters anymore. It probably didn't matter to you in the first place, which it shouldn't matter that much to you. But, and really in the realm of things, being that it is completely inaccurate, then it doesn't matter at all. But if it does, you're taking your children there. You're taking your children there. You're taking your children to the same people that you say aren't trustworthy to basically be doing shit, because their ancestors were so corrupt that they've become corrupt and they don't even know it. That's why they always feel like they're helping you. Help me get off my land. That'll be a plus. And give me my 40 acres and my mule and all the other stuff you owe me. That'd be a plus. But I digress. Brother Phil's hypocrisy, I see it, but I don't want to go all extra hard on him just because his wife is white and Mexican. Because I don't know her. And I don't know what the fuck that woman does for him. But what I do know is the things that you say about the grandparents, that's what makes this hypocrisy. Because if I was running around saying how much I hated people from Cape Verde, and I would never deal with anyone from Cape Verde, then I turn and I don't trust people from Cape Verde Island, because they're just horrible people and this, that, and the third. Then I turn around and I'm with a Cape Verde, and come on now, half Cape Verdean, half Irish or some shit. Like, ultimately, yo, I'm gonna have to take my child to grandparents and have them influenced by people, the same people I talk about. That's where the dilemma comes with Phil. And it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Derek Jones Talks Live. Next, we are moving on. We are switching gears. And we're asking the question, guys. Have we failed our youth, and will the cycle continue? Now, I did a video that you could see on Derek Jones Talks Live. I'd like you guys to check it out if you don't mind. The video was sent to me by a friend in the background. Very cool brother. The reason why I wanted to do it is because, and do a stream to just have a conversation about it. Like I said, I'm not going to drag these kids' names out like that. You know, I'm going to briefly talk about the incident. And I think I already did, and I'll do again by simply saying, look, there was some sort of altercation at a traffic stop. Well, not, excuse me, at a traffic light. I don't know if there was a red light or whatever was going on, whether somebody saw somebody and already had prior beef. You know, I'm not sure. But nevertheless, the end result was now we have a kid who's on the run, a couple other kids. I think they've been caught. I'm not sure. I think they've been caught already. And all of this is just a continuance of everything that's going on and been going on in this country and our families. Now, the reason why I asked the question is, have we failed our youth and will the cycle continue, is because I think the so-called youth has been failed long before it got to my youth and then the one that's past us. What's up, Salima? Van Digital, I Don't Buy Bull, The Shadow Assassin, Triple C as usual. Have we failed our youth? Have we? Because it's a cycle, man. Everyone could say that. But then you look at it like our parents don't feel that way. Like my parents, who if they were alive would be, what, almost 60 or in their 60s, early 60s. Their parents were there. Not having your parents in your life, especially your father, that was not something that they went through. The only reason somebody wasn't in your life back then, at that time, was because they passed. Generally, to be divorced or split up, that was not a thing that everybody liked doing back then in the 50s and 40s and the 30s and even going into the 60s. That was not something that's why a lot of times now I've seen on a lot of channels people talk about the pedophilia and things like that was hidden in the Black families because nobody wanted that embarrassment. Nobody wanted the embarrassment of a broken family either. That's why a lot of people just stayed together. And a lot of times that turned out, that strength of staying together, you know what I'm saying, through basically what your vows said, through thick and thin. So the fact that you stayed together through thick and thin is better for your children. It ends up being better for your children. The struggle that you go through to coexist with this person turns around and becomes a blessing to your children. And you just teaching them how to do the same. Like, yo, this is something you must go through. So with one of these young brothers, I got some information that his father is already locked up for like 40 years, 30, 40 years. So if his father is already locked up for 30, 40 years, there goes that right there. Yeah, Snap, that's why, what up, Sheep Stay Sleep. That's why I said this, that's why I'm asking the question like that. Like, with the continued cycle part, like, it has to be a cycle because, nigga, this shit didn't just start. Like, when we came up, our parents prepared us, they prepared us, but y'all know our parents didn't prepare us. Because if they did prepare us, we wouldn't have come into consciousness. We wouldn't have come into free thinking. Our parents did not really raise us to be free thinkers. Most of y'all know that because if you was like me, nigga, you was raised in the church. So there wasn't no free thought going on. You were in church every week. There was no free thought. I didn't even start realizing other shit until I got around 17, 18 and started coming into different shit. There's other people who were blessed to be in it, to the certain things that I was in that brought me out into a more rounded way of seeing the world. They were in it before me, but the problem with them is they are in it as far as a religion, so they're stuck. Free thinking should be the only religion. I don't know should be a daily mantra, because we don't. And all it can do is just lead us to fucking search for more, search for the truth. But have we failed our youth? I think we have. I wanted to really touch on this jumping culture. Yeah, then you could not question Jesus. You could question everything else but that. And that's what needed to be questioned, to be taught to you. Y'all know we wasn't prepared. Y'all know they told us, y'all better watch these white folks. But they didn't teach us what systemic racism was. They didn't tell us, yo, don't spend your fucking money with these people. Find somebody who look like you to spend your money with. Don't do this. No, they didn't tell us that shit. You know? Yeah, my Triple C, my cousins used to go to Hall. You know what I mean? And like I got a couple cousins now, like not a couple, of more than a couple, like a lot that go to Hall. Which they're not the same as where I grew up, Pentecostal church. So like it's not the same. But like I said, with the young man, with his father gone for 35, 40 years in a penitentiary from street shit, who failed his father? You see what I mean? Who failed his father? Or was his father failed? We got to take a look at the whole picture. We got to start looking at these kids who grow up with decent homes and still yearn for street shit. I knew a brother who's gone right now from that very thing. This brother's mother was a fucking police officer. She in a nice city, so you know they pay them well. She had a home, like a nice home, 3-4 bedroom, upstairs, downstairs, front yard, backyard, pretty clean street, neighborhood, home that this dude grew up in. His father wasn't there, but nevertheless, he still had contact with him, though he wasn't directly there. But she did the best she could do, and her best was awesome by a lot of people's standards. But it didn't matter because her son was yearned for street shit. No matter what, he was in the street. He didn't have to be in the street. At one point, one of my uncles coached him in basketball and sports and shit. So it's like we can't call it. That's why I always say our life everyday mantra should be I don't know. Because we don't know shit. You could have a great kid who's brought up in a great society, in a great home, and he yearns for that shit, and there's nothing you can do about it. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna try to fulfill that dream. A lot of the shit with our young men, which I try to tell a lot of women, it's bravado and it's a rites of passage thing. You can't take away something that's, if you go by some scholars, some of our educated, bringing the knowledge ass niggas, millions of years of existence on this plane, which I actually think is true. if we were going to count it in years. You can't take that out of them. They're looking for, it's supposed to be something set up for them to go through and then boom, be accepted into manhood. They don't have to worry about the older dudes looking at them in a certain way because they earned a stripe. They came through what they were supposed to come through to be part of the tribe, part of the people. So it's like, that's missing. You got mad different brothers teaching everybody different shit. In my house, I might be teaching somebody something. In this next house, they teaching them something totally different. There's no oneness. There's no, and part of that is why. Because we've never even gotten together and really had a fucking mass meeting. With social media being the way it is today, we have the opportunity for everybody to get in one base, one gigantic group chat, so to speak. We can connect and actually have a meeting where we're actually talking about doing shit. And don't worry about snakes and people getting in and corrupting it. That's why Shame TV is here and Derek Jones Talks Live. That's why we're here. We'll take care of vetting the meeting. We'll take care of that. But right now, man, right now it's a cycle. Just today in the area where I live, you guys might end up hearing it on the news. In an area that I just moved from. There was there wasn't an actual shooting in the school, but a kid got caught in the school with a gun, and he was threatening what he was gonna do, and all that was just today. Just this afternoon, people in like the 2 cities over from me had to fucking rush home and run to a fucking school, not knowing what happened to their kids. That shit probably won't even make national. That means it's happening a lot. And you know how these kids are with their copycat culture. That's why they all gotta rush out to get the same sneaker. Not like when we went and got the same sneaker. We did our damnedest to find a color that the next nigga didn't have. No, these niggas will go get all the same color fucking sneaker. Walking around looking like fucking, like, what are y'all? They got a little army. The fuck. How you wearing them sneakers and that nigga got them on? I would know. Hell no. Get out of here. No. What the fuck? We ain't twins. We ain't on a team. But that's what they do. That's their culture. They have, you know what? Most people don't want to say that, Triple C. They don't want to say no shit like that. But you have to train your kids. You gotta look at it like that. They gotta be trained. They have to be trained. It has to be. That's why I said, man, I talk to my kids. Like, yo, I always say this, man. I don't mind that my parents, well, not even my parents, for real, it was my pops. What my ass for real is just a lot of shit, nigga. I really didn't know, nigga. Like, you could have just told me. And then when you was doing it, explained it. No, you're not. They are vicious. Yo, what people don't know about children, no, I'm gonna tell you right now, yo. I read this book one time, and here we go again. Y'all cannot get on me with books because, like I said, I do not remember that shit. Like, I cannot tell you, yeah, it was such and such, nigga. I've read so many. It's like a blunt that I smoke. I can't tell you about the 17th blunt I smoked. Like, really, nigga? Like, I just smoked too many. So I don't know. But I remember reading this book, and it was talking. It was actually a religious book. It was something about the Vatican. Come on. It was something about the Vatican, another whatever. but it kept going, like the person in it kind of like Assassin's Creed, like going back into an earlier previous time or whatever shit, like the time period that they wasn't obviously existing in or whatever. So anyway, I'm reading the book, it happens again, you know, and they go back to this, it was like this war going on and these children were all trapped in this one little building. And so like all the parents pretty much weren't allowed in, because while they were warring, the ruler of this little section, what he was trying to do, the ruler was a priest, not like a king or a prince or something, but it was a priest. And what he was doing, he was like, well, what we're going to do is preserve a whole new society, a pure society. And even if we die, it doesn't matter, because we're going to block these kids off in this section that was basically impenetrable, and you couldn't get in there and whatever. So all the parents were crying and shit, like, because they didn't really want to send their kids in there because they weren't going to see them anymore. And anyway, they put the kids in there, and they're basically on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's food in there, it's like gardens and shit in there, and they're just basically kind of like, what is that movie? Maze Runner, the first one, you know, where they're trapped, but they're okay. You know what I'm saying? As far as food and shit goes. But the problem was the viciousness of the kids. Like, once they started getting older, you know what I'm saying? The older ones was being real fucking nasty to the ones. They was actually killing them. Like, if a little girl was crying so much because she missed her mother, like, yo, they go take this bitch up high or whatever and just throw the fuck off of, like, just vicious ass little white kids, yo. Well, because that's what they were in the book. But just fucking vicious, horrible. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that nature, that Lord of the Fly type nature, that is there, man. It exists in children. It is. I could listen to it in my kids, not to the point of them actually hurting each other physically, but they will fucking go at it. Then all that, they will go at it. They will argue and fight. They'll be and all that shit. They must be guided. And you know what the main thing that I noticed before, man, about these kids today is just that, man. Like, when you have a single mother, and I'm just being honest, a lot of times that woman is still in mode of still wanting to be a woman, still wanting to be beautiful, still want to be a wife, somebody's lady, you know, things of that nature, especially when she has other people around her who has these things and shit like that. It's like, they're not paying attention to these kids the way they should be. If the father was there, the worries that they'll have of, first off, looking for a father in the fucking first place wouldn't even be there. That part of it wouldn't even exist. Then you have to deal with the fact that a lot of the times the father's not there, like the young man in case that we were just talking about. Yo, this nigga, his pops is locked up. Why? Because not necessarily that he was a street nigga being negative, because a lot of the brightest, most open-handed, kind-hearted men I've ever met were street dudes. So that's not what I mean. Meaning forced to go to the streets to make ends meet. So not a street nigga like you just engaged in fuck shit, but one who engaged in the streets because, yo, this is gonna put food on my table. This shit is gonna put money in my safe so that when problems arise, I can handle the problems and the problems don't break my family down, because every little problem gonna break us down because we don't have no money to take care of this shit. She wouldn't have to go through that. If she don't have to go through that, then she's not going to be preoccupied with trying to land a dude, because and her kids, it's nighttime and the kids are still running around outside in the fucking street doing all types of shit like that, and she ain't even paying it no mind because she ain't doing her hair, getting ready, hoping that this nigga come over and drink with her and entertain her, and hopefully she can keep him to spend the night and whatever. All this is in her mind while this nigga is outside right now being influenced by the neighborhood idiot to go break into somebody's house, or you know what I mean? Like, that's how that shit happens. That's how it happens. But if the father was there, she wouldn't be doing that. So if she's not doing that, then she's gonna look around and say, hey, it's almost nighttime. Hey, Junior, get your fuck ass in here, nigga. What's your problem? You know I told you to get in here at nighttime. And she's gonna be handling her business as a mother raising him and making sure she sticks to however she raises him, because she doesn't have to worry about being backed up. Because when she's correcting her children and they feel that they want to be a little unruly, that's when I get up and come in there and be like, what's going on? What's the problem? See how that works? Teamwork. Teamwork. But that also means we have to realize, what are our pitfalls? Our pitfalls, number one, are planned pitfalls. So let's just get that right out of the bag. Let's just talk. Anybody who ignores systemic racism and generational wealth gap, just go back to the drawing board and start over. Okay, if you claim you're conscious, you claim you're awake, you claim you're anything, just if you don't start and end your day, if you're Black, Indigenous, Moor, whatever term you want to use, if you us, and you talk about anything and you do not start it, anything about, well, the father ain't there, he should be there. Well, the mother doing this, and she should be getting her ass and her welfare queen and buy all that shit. Anybody who want to throw shade on a sister, any brother want to throw shade on a sister, you better first start and go back to systemic racism and generational wealth gap. Okay, that's where it begins and ends. Any sister who want to look at her brother and, well, you should be here, and he not. Systemic racism, generational wealth gap. That's where it starts. It started there, and these things are the trickle-down effect. The trickle-down effect are these situations that I described and different ones, where you got people who are living different situations. You have somebody, like I said, you got a single mother. She's raising her kids. She got 2 daughters and a son, and she's raising them, but you know, she can't date like she wants to because she's working so fucking much, and the dude is getting older, and he really do need a man around because her brother lives in Arkansas, and so he's not around, and blah, 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 blah. Like, these things happen. And what ends up happening? She starts what? Again, wanting to be a woman, wanting to feel pretty, wanting to fucking do shit, wanting to, all that shit, wanting to have a husband, all of that stuff. She's neglecting this dude. Now he's turning to the streets and doing whatever. There's a million different stories like that. All of it is because we're broken and don't realize it and don't acknowledge that we're broken. That's the cycle. The cycle is that we're broken and it's going to continue. Derek Jones Talks Live. We will be taking a short break. And that's standard. On our short breaks, you will have audio.
Bullets is unemployed, begging Black people to help him take care of his own motherfucking kids. That's my word, dog. You live with your mom on Oline Avenue, dog. voices, but why we don't hear no woman voice? And then you got your kids living with your mom, and we always hear the precious baby's voices, but why we don't hear no woman voice? You live with your mom on Olean Avenue, dog. And then you got your kids living with your mom, and we always hear the precious baby's voices, but why we don't hear no woman voice? Tommy showed us you man voices, but why we don't hear no woman voice? Tommy showed us you man. But what about your lady? The mother let he'll take care of his own motherfucking kids. That's my word, dog. You live with your mom on Olean Avenue, dog.
Derek Jones Talks Live. We're glad that Michael Edwards was not correct in the address that he gave, trying to give an address of where Javen Bullets and his children and mother live. For what? For no other reason than going at a guy like that.
To show you that I don't care. I called you on the phone. Do what I did to say to show you that I don't care. That I don't care. That I don't care.
And that's who he did it for. Welcome back, guys. You guys having a good time with me tonight? A nice little show, a nice little chat. I just wanted to take a serious turn tonight. That's all. Like, we failed our youth, and it's a cycle, man. I think that personally, a lot of brothers really, we gotta really examine ourselves, man. Like, all the shit that we spend money on, we can collectively do something to make a difference, and it'll be a small difference, but each small difference will create a ripple effect, man. It'll create a ripple effect, because the money we spend on cars, the money we spend on girls, the money we spend on clothes, I want you to still do that, because that's you living your life having fun. So don't ever let anybody, first off, convince you that that's what I'm trying to say, and don't ever let anybody fucking make you feel bad or diss you because you take care of yourself, because they don't know your story. They don't know where the fuck you came from and what the fuck you was going without. So you don't let nobody dictate that to you. But what I'm saying is, nigga, you know we could do more. We could actually care.
Do what I did to say to show you that I don't care. Do what I did to say to show you that I don't care. That I don't care. That I don't care.
We don't want to be like that. We don't want to be like that. Who want to be a fucking goofball like that? Huh? You don't raise your kids right. They do shit like this.
He was allergic to bee stings or whatever. He had a pouch and stuff on. And I was like, nigga, I hope a bee sting your motherfucking ass. I tried to.
Like, you know what I mean? You don't want them doing shit like this.
So if we did get stung, that boy would have ended up dead. Did get stung, that boy would have ended up dead. Did get stung, that boy would have ended up dead.
And before we go, guys, I want you guys to hashtag, it's been a new hashtag, what happened to that boy? I want y'all to leave some pauses in there. Leave about 2-3 periods. Hashtag Izzy, what happened to that boy that you tried to kill with the bees? You take his stuff and hope he get killed by a bee sting. That's crazy. You fucking juvenile delinquent. Derek Jones Talks Live. Advice show Phil Swirling. Apparently, yes. Is the only conflict that I really have with Phil is he did do an awful lot of strong black men talk, but a lot of brothers who date white women seem to do that. But the main problem I have is the fact that you actually pathologize Europeans about, you know, their nature and who they are. That's just who they are, etc. But yet you allow if their grandparents are in their lives, then the children are going to these people and being reared by them. You know, so I guess that's just something to think about. Have we failed our youth? I think to a degree, yes. To a degree, no. We cannot blame ourselves for the things that our children do to a degree. If you put out your best effort and you know you did your best to keep them mentally and physically away from a certain environment, like the ones who are raised in nice neighborhoods and then want to go to hoods, yo, you end up getting killed. Like with a brother I knew, yo, he was raised in a great environment. Then you end up getting one that long for street shit and it killed you. You died from it. He died from it. So it's like the young brothers, yo, they're in the streets right now. You're at a traffic light beefing with somebody and you shoot this nigga. Like, come on, man. I watched a video today where a brother was at a restaurant with his aunts and stuff, and eating dinner. These niggas come in, 3, 4 of them, one recording, and they jump him right there in front of his aunts and shit. And then went around, and the shit that made me mad, y'all, was the comment section. Like, yeah, man, he got caught slipping, and what are you talking about? Like, yeah, man, the streets, man, when you live there, what, like, nigga, that's some coward shit. The 3, 4 people that jump on somebody in front of somebody's aunts and grandmothers, yo, you're a fucking coward. I'll tell you to your face, you're a fucking coward. I would tell you to your face, you're a fucking coward. Because that's what you are. That is cowardice at its finest. This whole jumping culture. It's a cowardice culture. And it's accepted. That's why our youth do what we do, because we failed them. Because first off, they're cowards. We need to have this meeting, y'all. We really need to have this nigga meeting, y'all. We really have to have it. Derrick Jones Talks Live. Snapella, Salima, Van Digital, Triple C, everybody that came to mess with me tonight. We gotta have this nigga meeting. But before we do, niggas like this are not allowed. They are not allowed. We cannot have people like this.
I wasn't even, they did get stung. That boy would have ended up dead. I was dead. I wasn't even, they ended up dead. I was dead. I did get stung. That boy would have ended up dead.
You know, he don't care.
In the South and can't go to certain cities, certain districts, certain stances to, you know, have that pistol on wherever our lance is, to, you know, have that pistol on what lance is, to, you know, have that pistol on, to, you know, have that pistol on, you know, fucking it up.
Derrick Jones Talks Live. I will see you guys tomorrow morning for the Morning Yard stream. Tomorrow on the Morning Yard stream. I will let you know what we're talking about then. Peace.